Under my control.
Despite carrying out the fire tests in 2002, the council was unable to make the report available in time for this programme. There's residents in Ross Road at the moment that don't trust the fire doors that they've been provided with.
Well, if they don't, let them tell us and we will replace them straight away.
But last month, one Ross Road resident took the council up on that offer.
They gave me these doors, which there's a lock and key on them, and they gave me this after I got the doors, saying do not fit locks that require the use of a key to open the door in event of a fire, which I don't think the lock and key should be on the fire door. And then with the seal broke down the sides and a hole in it, if there was a fire, smoke would come through.
This was the furthest they could get, try to rescue the children, and unfortunately they couldn't. They were restricted by that.
Tony May, the Residents Association chair, now lives next door to Tracy's flat. He's worried. His own children still sleep in an inner room.
This is the hallway where there was, the lobby where there was fire alarms supposed to be put in, but it hasn't been put in to date. In the event of a fire, there's very little route of escape. There's no way you can get onto a balcony. There's no balcony outside either, so yeah, it's a bit worrying.
The council says it's now carrying out a full fire audit of the flats, but it's been there before.
There was an audit carried out in 2002 and works were carried out as a result of that. Clearly it would have been better if it had been carried out before that, but we are where we are.
In terms of trust and accountability, I don't think that people have that in the Dublin City Council at the moment.
The council call it a tragedy, but it runs a hell of a lot deeper than a tragedy. It's just a total disaster. That's what I call it, a disaster, not a tragedy. Their faults, not ours. They're our landlords.
The seaside town of Bray. It's in the Minister for the Environment, Dick Roche's own constituency. More fatalities here from our bad record on domestic fires. This is Old Court Estate, and here there's trouble for the local authority, Wicklow County Council. It's also the fire authority. Old Court used to be known as White City. It looked similar to this estate. In the 60s and 70s, housing like this was built all over the country. Low cost, flat roofed, and built to be temporary. But in the mid-80s, Old Court was given a major revamp.
When they refurbished them and we got our fireplaces, we were thrilled. Here we were walking into our new houses, and you know, we were delighted with ourselves because we were able to stay in the area. Because when people moved out, they used to come back and say they missed the people here because it was such a lovely community, and it still is.
Most of the housing here is local authority owned, but since the refurbishment, 8 tragedies have blighted the estate.
There's been at least 12 fires that I'm aware of, serious fires that have been on this estate. We've had 8 fire-related deaths, 2 young mothers and 6 children. That's a lot of body bags from a housing estate of 240 houses.
The first tragedy was on Stephen's Morning, 1988. John Cassidy and his wife Kitty had taken up the offer to move into a refurbished house. 4 of their children died in the blaze.
As the coffins were brought on the short journey to Ballywaltram Cemetery, young classmates, many carrying flowers, walked before the funeral procession.
Within weeks, Kitty was dead too.
Everything I had went in one go, bar young John and myself. Everything. Everything I worked for, everything. Graham was only learning how to walk. He was only 18 months. Learning how to walk. That's why I can't understand why Bobby's taken away. But they're the only photographs I have. Lisa, she'd ring me and walk, because Kitty'd have all the women in the house. And she'd ring me and walk and say, Dad, they're wrecking all your LPs. Jason was 6. He couldn't kick a ball, but he wanted to play football. That's the way it goes. There were my babies going into the ground. Okay, I had John with me, but I hadn't got Kitty.
18 years on, Kitty Cassidy's brothers are still raw too.
The worst of all is when I had to go into the hospital and identify all the children. That was the part, and I got sick after that. I didn't recover for nearly 2 years.
They used to come up to the graveyard every week for 10 years, and then I got advised just to stop going, so feel a little bit better, feel a lot better, you know.
At least 2 years after, it was all inside, so it was very hard to cope. And when it came around Christmas, you didn't want to know anything about it, or you weren't happy to if coming around or anything. You'd be better off not knowing about it at all.
When we got to the corner, over there, I froze on the corner because all I could see was an ambulance, fire service, people everywhere. And Chrissy, her sister, approached me and she says, "Catherine, isn't it terrible? Isn't it terrible? Poor Kitty," she says. "The kids are dead, the kids are dead." And I said, "Chrissy, don't be telling me that." She says, "Catherine, they are." I couldn't believe it. Poor Kitty.
The tragedy was to raise the first questions about the local fire service. There was a new station, but only a part-time brigade.
This is the second time in recent months that the Bray Fire Service here has been accused of a delay in getting to a serious fire.
So I went to the hall door, there was no way we could get in because all the carpet in the hallway was completely on fire. And it would have been too dangerous to go in anyway, so I ran up to the fire service.
And when I got up to the fire station, there was one man behind the desk and the rest of the fire station was closed down.
Bray still has no full-time service, though its population has risen sharply. Minister Dick Roche told Primetime that the level of call-outs still doesn't justify a full-time service. The Cassidy fire wasn't the last tragedy here. In 2001, Teresa Cahill and her infant son Christopher perished.
I got the call about 11:15 in the morning to say there had been a fire in the house, and Jamie and Robin were okay, but Teresa and Chris were rushed to hospital.
I was babysitting for Teresa from the night before. She had gone out for a few drinks with her sister, and she went to sleep upstairs because I said I'd stay downstairs in case the kids did come down in the morning and not disturb her. Then the next thing I remember is just the alarm going off in the house, and Teresa shouting down the stairs to me, like, to get myself and the two kids out of the house.
And then our mum told me and Robin to go down the stairs, and then my mum and Chris got stuck in their room.
The neighbours came along then, they were trying to get ladders up to try and break a window to get in and get them out.
I arrived, my sister, my mum were standing at the wall over there, and they were actually working on my sister at that time in the garden, and Chris was in the ambulance at this stage. So it was a case of just went over, talking to the family. Everybody was saying how they'd seen Teresa at the window asking for help. You know, her main bedroom window is there, and that's where she was last seen alive, you know, when she was trying to get her baby out of the house. And that was it, you know.
Just next door to the Cahills was a fire hydrant, but it appears the fire brigade didn't know it was there.
The fire brigade never knew that the nearest fire hydrant was in the next door neighbour's garden, and that they didn't have to run around checking the whole roads out.
She was trying to get somebody to come up to the window and take her baby. You know, that it